All right. Good to see you all on this Tuesday. Think I've got everybody. A few people not here. We'll see if they come later. Anyways, I'm going to talk about this gentleman, Venerable Alphonse Gallegos. Well, Alphonse Gallegos. Why am I talking about him? Why am I talking about him? Miss Villa, why am I talking about Venerable Alphonse Gallegos? What might be the purpose, huh? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, he's important. Yeah. Have you ever heard of him before? Yeah, so he's somewhat important. Let's qualify that. Yes, Easter Hinkle, because it is Hispanic Heritage Month, right? So I'm honoring American Catholics who are on their way to sainthood. And unlike Junipero Serra, he's definitely American. He was born in the United States of America, not what became the United States. 1931 to 1991. Born in 1931. He died in 1991. He was from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was born in New Mexico, which is one of the U.S. states. Although 1931. Mexico still a territory? I guess was it a state yet?
Pretty sure it was.
You think so? Look it up for me, sir. I'll give you an extra credit point. I just want to make sure because a little bit because I know Hawaii wasn't yet, and Alaska I don't think was a state yet. But yeah,
1912.
oh, it did. Okay, good. Um, New Mexico. So an American citizen, definitely. And as you can see from, or maybe you can infer from his outfit here, the hat, the staff, the shepherd's staff. He was a Catholic bishop. Um, he was in holy orders and eventually was ordained a bishop, an auxiliary bishop of Sacramento in California. So he, hopped from New Mexico over to California. An auxiliary bishop, well, the word auxilium in Latin just means to help. So basically, a helper bishop. What did you get, by the way? Did you get something nice? Oh, just popcorn? Mm. Not caramel corn, just regular popcorn? Tasty. Mom loves popcorn. Make it for her all the time. Anyways, so he made his way somehow. He got over to California and he became a helper bishop, an auxiliary bishop. You have the main bishop of a diocese. You had the main bishop of Sacramento in California, the Diocese of Sacramento. And then he might have other men who are also bishops, but they serve him to help him in his duties. Sometimes the church just gives it away as a gift. It's like your parting gift on a game show or something. Well, Bob's been a priest, a good priest, for so many decades. I'll just slip his name into the list of bishops. And Bob becomes an auxiliary bishop. Some dioceses have them, some dioceses don't. I think Philadelphia does, the Archdiocese. Newark has is known for having a ton of auxiliary bishops. For what reason, I don't know. Other dioceses just have the one bishop. Technically, there's only one bishop for a diocese. But anyways, he was ordained a bishop, a helper bishop of the Diocese of Sacramento in the early 80s. And he was known as the Bishop of the Barrios. The Bishop of the Barrios. He would hang out in the neighborhoods. I guess barrio is a nice word that comes from Spanish for ghetto. The slums where all the poor people are. So that's where he would go. And he would minister especially to gang members. So yeah, he would show up not dressed like this, but sometimes he'd dress up in a sombrero hat and stuff like that, in a t-shirt. Hey, what's going on? Shoot anybody today? Good, good, good. Jesus loves that, Don't shoot anybody. Love your enemies, right? So, but he was minister, which I can imagine was quite hard work. And he is Hispanic, so he's not appropriating culture. The sombrero, he's legit. Okay, so I mean, anyways, so as a priest and as a bishop, he did this. What else do we got? And he worked, yeah, in Los Angeles and Sacramento. Somehow he got down. Sacramento is in the north, but somehow I guess he got down to L.A. and continued his work of working amongst the poor. Excuse me. I gotta figure out some way how to, because I got my alarm here, so I know when I need to stop. But I keep getting stupid. I'm like, bang. Counselor, hey, how's it going? They all want to send me stupid messages telling me you have an appointment tomorrow. Well, thank you, but I'm busy right now. Okay. And he apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently from this article, he had bad eyes. He's wearing eyeglasses, so you can tell he had some kind of eye disability, but apparently he had poor eyesight and stuff like that, so he suffered from that. And unfortunately, in 1991, he did not die a natural death. Apparently, he was run over by a car. Someone ran the good old bishop down. Hopefully, it wasn't one of those low riders, you know, in the barrio. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, wait, do we hit something? Yeah, Bishop Gallego. Hit Bishop Gallegos, man. Yeah. But that's how he died. So they opened up his, apparently he's a very good and holy man. And so he's at that second stage, and now he's venerable. So he can be officially, in some form, venerated by the church. I don't know which diocese would have, I'd have to look up the details to see which diocese opened up his cause, whether it was LA or Sacramento or New Mexico, for that matter, out in Albuquerque. But nevertheless, his cause has been open, and that's where he is for now. So I ask, you know, Venerable Alphonse, for your prayers for us during Hispanic Heritage Month, for peace, and that you will pray for us and pray for, well, people in California and New Mexico, where you were from, that they will be blessed by God and live peaceful and happy lives. So, and pray for us in this class that we'll do well. Amen. Sorry, the ultimate. So I've been talking about the ultimate. All right. And you know, that leads us to reality, the world we live in, that the way, the real, okay? The word real simply comes from the Latin, which means a thing, res, rei, two forms here, res, and then this is the possessive form, rei, which you have to learn, but res comes from a thing or an object. So anything is, you know, it's just a thing, the thingness. So that there's an ultimate thingness or objectivity beyond which there is no more thingness. It's the only thing. Here we get into the idea of like eternity or something. There's no limit to it. There's nothing, because if it is the ultimate and there's no beyond it, and what is beyond it, if possible, is simply it still, it goes on forever. It's eternal. Or infinite, one might say. There's no end to it. So ultimate reality, some kind of thing, we could just say, I put power, force, order. These are different, you know, just different ideas. I'm not going to, I guess I won't commit myself to any one thing, but something that we recognize in the world that is believed to encompass it, is in it in some way, active in it, and gives the world, the cosmos, final and lasting meaning. It explains the cosmos. Because the cosmos doesn't seem to explain itself. Does it? Or does it? I mean, does the cosmos make sense? Well, that's an answer. You don't know. Probably a good answer. Does the cosmos make sense? We seem to assume that it does. Hence, people study it, astronomers, astrophysicists, physicists. So there's the presumption that it has to make sense, otherwise, what does the data mean? And yet, if you talk to most, you know, modern astronomers and stuff like that, they'll tell you that no, the universe doesn't make any sense. It's completely purposeless and meaningless. So we look for purpose and meaning in it because that's the kind of beings we are. But really, you have to kind of remind yourself and step back as an astronomer and remember, okay, the patterns that I think I'm seeing here, the order, the design, the understandability of it, intelligibility, really that's my mind imposing that on the cosmos. It's not really there by nature, by essence. So then again, it gets back to the question of, why do we have an astronomy department? Almost like religious studies scholars. You're talking yourself out of a job here, sir or madam. Shh. You have to understand, there are the parts you say quietly and the parts you say out loud. That you don't say out loud. So that's, I think, what differentiates religion from, say, a football game that we watched, the college football game, or that many of you might have watched on Thursday with the Eagles. Ultimate reality. We know the game is not ultimate reality, even though it shares a lot of characteristics with religious things. But religion is making claims on us that a football game is not. Because we know, there's going to be another football. Well, no, unless something happens. We all blow each other up, or Jesus returns or something. We're assuming there'll be another football game next week, right? It's scheduled, right, Mr. Saunders? It's scheduled. The NFL has hope. And if the NFL has hope, then, I gotta have hope too that we'll survive another week. What are they doing? How does the NFL know that we're going to be here next? Huh?
It's the script.
It's the script. Yeah, you just follow the script. Make that assumption. Who knows? Every football player in the NFL could just coincidentally have a massive heart attack all at the same time. There's your league. No games. Of course, yes. God forbid. God. Except for the Giants. But then who are the Giants going to play? Who are they going to beat? There are no other team. There will be no other teams. Ultimate reality. Religion is asking me, saying that there is nothing beyond. Football, I know. There's going to be another game coming. So it's not ultimate. The score, I guess you could say, is ultimate because the score is not going to change necessarily. The score is kind of set. There's nothing beyond this. The score is what it is, but it had to, at a certain time. If they kept the game going, then the score might have been different. But they had a certain time, and at a certain time, they just shut it off, said, we're not going any farther. Ooh. This park, yes. We're not going beyond. We're setting a limit here. Boom. The score ends here. So the Eagles could have stayed on the field and kicked 10 more field goals. Nobody there. Everybody leaves. Well, that's great, We're not going to put it in the score. Why? We did it. Our kicker did it. We were there on the field. Doesn't that count? We're on the field. We are football players playing in a football. What happened at that certain time that all of a sudden our field goals no longer score points? Because we're not going beyond that. It's ultimate. But religion is the ultimate. Reality itself, the thing we live in, there's nothing beyond that. It's final. And it undergirds reality, and it gives a complete final meaning to our existence. Okay, so yeah, there's some ultimacy in, say, a football game, that it does end, and it's not this, you can play another football game, but it's not the same, okay? And there's nothing beyond the score at the end. Once it's over, it's over. And so, okay, so there's some analogy there, but I think religion is making a deeper claim for me. And even science makes that claim. The universe, is constantly expanding. The universe is, most astronomers think, is probably infinite, so it has no limitations. It'll expand forever. and ever. So there's nothing beyond the universe. So the only difference really there between astronomy and religion is that, well, astronomy is materialistic. You know, it doesn't deal in spirits, spiritual beings or gods and stuff like that. It's just dealing with the physical world, the material world, and what we can know from that. But it's kind of like, so what's the difference? You're making the same, whether it's heaven or it's an infinite physical universe. Because some, religions, some religion like Hinduism, you know, they think in more physicalistic terms. Heaven is a place that you can go to. In Christianity, not so much. It's more of an existence. So even religions are not all on the same page in that sense. So another difference, I guess, with religion is not just being ultimate reality, because we can have that even in science with the physical cosmos, eternally expanding forever and ever and ever. And that's a problem, because it means the heat death of everything, because eventually, trillions of years from now, every bit of matter in the universe will be so far apart from every other bit of matter, and even the parts of the atoms will start to expand away from each other, even at the quantum level, from this eternal expansion, that they won't be able to produce heat anymore because you need friction. Just nothing will be close at all. Transcendence, I think. We want to add in this idea, if we're mixing up a tikka masala, we're making our masala for Indian food, our grum, you got this spice and that spice and the other spice. So we throw in a little bit of ultimate reality. Religions are dealing in that. There's this reality and nothing beyond it, God and nothing beyond God. Okay, but we can see that in the sciences and in the physical world too. So what else can we kind of throw into our masala mix of spices? Transcendence, to step over something or climb over. Skando, trans, means across. A transatlantic flight means you're flying across the Atlantic from one country to the other. Probably, I'm assuming one country to the other. I hope so. Transcontinental, from one continent to the other. So trans means across, and scundo in Latin means to climb something. So to transcend has the idea of stepping over, passing over something. And so religion is transcendent. It steps over all the boundaries. It knows no boundaries. It's not like religion, the Eagles game is limited to sport. It doesn't transcend that. Okay, it's one part of my life. I watch the game or I go to the game. And okay, some people have all sorts of stuff in their homes, and maybe they dress in the jersey all the time and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's still a sport. Okay, it's not going to ever transcend that and become something else. Okay? It's not like Bill and Ted, They're not going to bring the whole world together because of their band. Wild Stallions. We are Wild Stallions. No? Okay. It's limited. It's a sport. Religion doesn't claim that limitedness. It claims everything religion sticks its nose into. Ethics and morality, okay, music, the world, science, what the world is. It transcends, it affects everything. And there's a nice little parable of this, just to give you an example of this, just a little story of, kind of shows, maybe that doesn't matter. Move on, Dr. Dunn. It's popped into my head, but it doesn't matter. Religions they witness to the belief that reality is filled with beings and places that are somehow part of the world, but not really part of it. They transcend our world. So in a lot of religions, they believe the gods live in mountains, which makes sense because the gods are powerful beings, so they should live high up above the rest of us for some reason. I don't know why that, that just clicks in our brains that highness is somehow better than lowness. I mean, look at where the rich people live. You go to Hollywood or Beverly Hills or Malibu. They're up in the hills surrounding Los Angeles. They're not down in the valley where the city is. All the rich people are up in the hills. Unfortunately, where some of the fires are now. But as long as the fires were out in the suburbs, it wasn't okay, but people weren't going nuts. You have Steve Gutenberg running down the street trying to save people. Steve Gutenberg, is he still alive? I thought he's still alive. Yeah, I'm Steve Gutenberg. But when it got to Malibu, man, where all the wealthy people were, up on the hills, yeah, you live up above, and that's where the gods live. They live in their mountain houses, where the weather's nicer, it's cooler, or it's prettier, or whatever, or they're away from people, so they have to be bothered by human beings. So they're a part of the world, but they're not a part of the world because they're remote. And also it ties into the idea of transcendence because by being up higher, you can see over everything. Yes? Again, stepping over. All right? This idea of being over stuff. Or across, you can see things, you can look down on them and see what's going on. Whereas, when you're down below and you're looking up, your vision is, your total vision is not as great, it's not as expansive. Hence satellites. Why do we think, we want to get up as high as possible, or those jet planes that we send up, our spy planes that fly almost on the edge of space. Number one, they can't get shot down, or it's harder to shoot them down. But also, you're so far up, you can take all these pictures of a lot of territory than if you're just, on the ground. So transcendence, the state of extending above and beyond. However we conceive a God, we know that a God is beyond us in some way. Really, really big, but much bigger than us. And so religion has this idea that there's something or someone that transcends the normal world. It interacts with the normal world, okay? It might be very much in the normal world, so gods and spirits, like they're gods in the forests and stuff like that. But then they're everywhere, so they transcend just the local forest. They're gods everywhere, wherever you go. There's not a place where they're not. They're in everything. And some religions even go the full Monty or all the way and are like, everything is God, God is me, even me. God is, that's what yoga's designed to do. Through the exertion of pain, which yoga involves pain. Physical stretching and saying your mantras and stuff like that, it's supposed to help you realize that you are really ultimate reality, and ultimate reality is you. You're one and the same. Because you're in the ultimate reality. And if you believe that the ultimate reality, call it a God, if you will, is in everything, is part of everything, it's not separate from everything, well, that includes me. So I'm also a God, or divine, I should say. By practicing yoga, it will bring me to enlightenment, to liberation, really, where I finally realize this fact of my divinity, my oneness with everything else, including ultimate reality. So there's a world that's might be in the normal or natural world, but it's beyond it, it's transcendent. And that world, that transcendent world, has a meaning and a reality that the normal world does not have, or maybe doesn't have as fully as this other world. So, in a lot of religions, this other world, call it heaven or paradise or whatever, what have you, is usually pictured as perfect. It's better than this world, right? It's never really worse, unless you're going to a hell. And there are hells, there are places that are worse. But a lot of times it is this transcendent world. It's like the normal world, but it's better. It's better. It's like a garden. Well, I know what a garden is. Yeah, but the fruit doesn't rot and it always is growing so you can eat forever and you never get full. You never have to take a dump. You never have to worry about the imperfections of a real garden, normal garden. It's a perfect garden. And this transcendent reality, or this ultimate reality as well, is filled with a meaningfulness. It has a meaning and a power that only can be found there. It's not usually found in the normal world. Yeah, so can you really find food in this normal world that doesn't rot or get sour? No, that's not possible. But it is possible in heaven, or say in Islam. If you go to Islamic heaven, it's like a great banquet, a great feast, food everywhere. Lots of sex, apparently. Lots of sex. And yet the women still stay virgins. I don't know, you can have sex with them forever, but they're always virgins. That's not normal, right? That's probably not normal in the natural world because we're imperfect. But this is not the natural world. This is heaven. So this is your final fulfillment. This is what you're looking for. Okay? This world's great, but you're going home. You're going where you're going to find your total fulfillment. Where there's a realization that whatever we're doing here doesn't totally fulfill us. There's something else that will. And because it's going to totally fulfill us and it's going to be ultimate, then yeah, it has to be kind of a final reality. It has to, as I mentioned before about eternity, and it kind of implies infinity or eternity or a long, some kind of long duration, almost never-ending duration. Because otherwise, what's the point of it? It's almost like just you're going from one imperfect world that ends to another one. Just the other one might be better. No, you want it to keep going. Ultimacy, that's what I'm buying into. It's ultimate. I don't have to worry like, okay, in 500 billion years, this will all end and then something else will occur, No, I'm in heaven. If I'm in heaven, then I'm always in heaven with God. And usually this ultimate reality, which transcends all things, is not visible. It's invisible. You can't see it. Although not always. I mean, some religions, you can. They're big on the sight. It's not it's not. How do I put this? What do I mean by that? Well, there are parts or aspects of, let's say, this ultimate reality that you can't necessarily see. So the spirits or the gods. Although, as I said, in some religions, they're very visible. I mean, that's why people are looking for miracles, or they look for, they see things and they think that it's a spirit. I might just think it's the bush moving because the wind is blowing on it. But no, for someone else, that's a visible sign that there's a spiritual nature to the bush, that it's moving for some reason. Or if you see the planets moving through the sky and stuff like that. Yeah, with astronomy, we know about gravity and the influences the planets have, and one planet can pull another, and the sun is pulling all of us around its orbit. But we also affect other planets' orbits as well, like Jupiter is a very large planet, and if we didn't have Jupiter, we probably wouldn't have a solar system because it Jupiter is so big that with its gravity, its mass, it affects all the other planets in the solar system and kind of makes our solar system work the way it does. Okay? So it doesn't seem to be there for nothing. It's doing something. So that's even in the physical world. Now, someone could say, well, these things are moving because they're spiritual entities. Yes, they're physical, you can see them, but they also have spirits. And a lot of ancient religions thought that. That's why they were such great astronomers. They wanted to plot the courses of the various planets and stuff because they thought they had meaning, because there were spirits behind them. They were meaningful. They affected human life. They believed, they assumed. Okay. So Native Americans in Central America, Egyptians, Chinese, who else? Mesopotamians, like in ancient Sumer, I was talking about in the last class, how Sumer comes back. Always Sumer. I can't get rid of you. But anyways, Stonehenge, so we know even, the Celts and the Germans were doing these things. People all over the world were looking up at the skies and assuming meaning in natural events. But meaning they couldn't see. They assumed that maybe they were spiritual beings in some way that they couldn't see. But they could perceive them in the physical world still. So I just want to mention that because it's not always like, oh, spirits or religion is only dealing with stuff you can't see or can't quantify. No, a lot of religions deal very, very much with the physical world. People see things happen in the physical world. They see a natural disaster. They think that that's because some spirit or God has been offended. So let's round up the virgins and go to the shore and sacrifice them to the gods. The god isn't angry. We don't know what we did, but we must have pissed off Poseidon in some way, right? Otherwise, why did he send a tidal wave to destroy our cities? I'm going with the evidence, Ms. Rogers. I'm following the data. But Poseidon doesn't exist. Okay, I agree with you. I'm a Christian. I do not believe in Poseidon. I do believe in God. And some people you still have that with people, even with Christians, Why did God let this natural disaster happen to America? Oh, because we're doing something immoral. God's punishing us. You still find it's kind of a superstitious, that old paganism doesn't go away, even though the religion might change. We assume the physical, and we see, how's that not scientific? I'm observing the physical world. Maybe I'm making a false conclusion from it, but if I see some natural disaster, something bad, I'm looking for meaningfulness in it in some way. Other than maybe tidal waves happen. There's an underwater earthquake, and there you go. Tsunami, baby. Yeah. The world doesn't care that that you have cities built on the coastline. There was an earthquake in the Earth's crust, and it displaced the water, and the water, when you're in a bathtub and you get in the bathtub and the water sloshes around, the water in the ocean sloshes up onto the land. So what if it killed a few million people and destroyed some cities? Think the Earth has a conscience or is worry? It's doing what it's supposed to do. So this reality, this ultimate reality that transcends all things, makes sense to all things, is usually encapsulated in the word, if I have it here, the sacred, when we're talking about religion. This absolute, incomparable reality that's totalizing, nothing is beyond its influence, is called the sacred. Many religious studies scholars would call this the sacred. Or the holy is another way to describe it, but we'll go with the sacred. Which is a state of mind by which one, and you can see, from the religious studies perspective, it's not like a reality here. They're not assuming that it's a real thing, the sacred. It's a human's perception of reality. Just take note of that. So it's a state of mind by which a person perceives that there is a transcendent, overarching, enduring, lasting, powerful order in the universe that has a meaning that is the ultimate meaning. There's no meaning beyond that. This is exactly what the world means, and there's nothing more than that. Whatever you think that to be. I mean, there are various religions in the world, and people conceive it in different ways. What's ultimately real and what's ultimately meaningful. But it's usually the sacred. And, as we saw with Emil Durkheim, this idea of sacer, or sacra, sacrum, literally something that's dedicated to a god, something that's given to a spirit as its own property. And so you can't, as I told you before, you can't treat it, as Durkheim told us, it's forbidden or taboo. It's not normal anymore. You can't treat it the same way because it belongs to the god. So you can't go there because it's the god's place. Or you can't touch it because it's the god's property. Well, sometimes you can touch it. They want you to touch it. Anyways, but usually, no, you don't touch something. Or you don't say it, don't speak it, because it's the God's language or the God's name. Something like that. Anything. Okay? All sorts of things that are sacred. Places you can't go. Usually, yeah, it's some things you can't do is usually what the sacred is about, as Durkheim told us. Things that are forbidden. So don't run in church. Oh, why? Well, because it's God's house. So? It's rude. I mean, for some reason, running, I don't know. Somehow people think that the gods think running through their building is rude, I guess. Does anyone ask? Like, going up on the tabernacle to knock down and say, hey, Jesus, do you mind if I run in your church? See if he gives you permission. Or talking loudly in church, or yelling, or laughing, or using foul language, profane language, yes. Profane, as opposed to sacred language. Why? Because it's God's house. It's sacred. This area has been dedicated to the God. And so something of ultimate reality is here and needs to be respected. In this place, like a church, there's something of that transcendent order here that we perceive that we don't find someplace else. So yeah, I mean, people are like, yeah, I can pray anywhere, I can go out into the forest, up on a mountain, hike up a mountain and pray. Some people do that. They like it. They feel that, but they feel transcendence. That's why they say they're not just, you don't go to your bathroom, park yourself on the toilet and start to pray. Well, maybe if you're constipated. Please, Lord, let it pass. Literally. Well, you won't know that for a few more decades. Yeah. But why? You don't usually see, even a house full of religious statues. Like you go to someone's house, they got statues of the Virgin Mary, crucifixes, pictures of Jesus and stuff like that. But then what do you see in the bathroom? Do they have the same religious sensibilities in their bathroom? Find crucifix near the toilet, or, statue of the Virgin Mary near the sink, where you brush your teeth. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not poking through yes, sir. Huh? Popes? Bolts? Oh, quotes. Yeah, like quotes from the Bible and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. But that's talking about like Christianity or Judaism, but if you're in a Muslim household, don't you dare. Quran must be treated with utmost respect. You can't treat it like any other book, so you do not put a quote of the Quran in a place, bathroom, where people relieve themselves. Not at all, never. That's a serious offense. It's Buddhism. If you're going to build your home temple to the your home shrine to the Buddha where you're going to meditate, can't put it near even near the bath, because that's where you relieve yourself. Why? It's sacred. It's sacred. It's different. The God wouldn't like it. Would be rude to whatever the spirit is. So the sacred is really symbolic. It's a symbol. The sacred is a symbol of this perception that humans have of things that are ultimately real and meaningful. And you don't transgress the sacred. It's so important to you that you would just never do it. I mean, if I have a picture of my mother, what would you think of me if I showed you a picture of my mom? And then I tear it up in front of you and throw it on the floor. Well, what have I done? Mr. Ruddle, what have I done?
Essentially disrespected you.
Really? How?
Well, personally, I think that's disrespectful to happen.
Personally, okay, but tell me why you think that person.
Because that's your mom, that's your...
No, it's not. You stepped right into that, Mr. Ruddle, I gotta say.
So
Sorry.
it's not your mom.
Yeah, no, picture of my mom is my mom?
Yeah. It's
It is?
your birthday.
Really? A picture? Just a picture of her is like...
That's not physically your mom, but that's
Oh,
a representation.
All right. So it's not the same as if I hit my mom. If I physically hit my mom or assaulted her.
Well, that would be a completely different issue.
Oh, that's completely different. You call the police on it. Yeah. I'm assuming you would intervene.
I would.
But not if I tear up her picture.
I wouldn't. When you mean intervene, like what extent?
Stop me. Which, if I were hitting my mom,
Yes, I would
me.
stop you.
Okay.
I'm not
But why not tearing up her picture? You just said it's her. I love what I do, Mr. Park. I'm a gadfly, but I should be careful because Socrates is a gadfly too. Okay. Yeah, no. I don't know. How is that disrespectful? I could see if physically I'm doing something to my mom, but just a picture of her, and I tear it up and I throw it on the floor. What is disrespectful about tearing something, and what's disrespectful about something being on a floor? The picture doesn't belong to me? Even if I took it myself? Yeah, it's a picture of her. Let's put it that way. It's her, yeah, it's her property. Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah. No, but let's say it's my picture. I took a picture of her. There they go. There they go. Who? Two at once? Really? I don't know what to do. Do you think if I, we'll say I didn't tear up, let's say I just try on the floor, that would be disrespectful. Okay, fine. Well, the floor is dirty. Okay, yeah, the floor is dirty. People are walking on it, yeah, mud, other stuff. Okay. Is dirty a bad thing? Why? Dirty. Okay, it's not taken care of. All right. Isn't most of the planet dirty? I mean, dirty, right, Mr. Dobson? Dirt. I think where did we get the word from, Yes.
It's kind of disrespectful because like you put pictures in frames and then like, you just said you broke it up and did it before. Not that you actually did, but if you were to do that, it kind of do the same thing with like old mail or trash.
I should stand in this chair and see what happens. I'm treating it like I would treat garbage, you think? Okay. Interesting. You get off on this. What was going to be my point, Mr. Saunders? Do you know?
Answering their intentions. Like, it's not necessarily disrespectful to have religious objects in places that are seen as disrespectful because it's not like disrespecting them, like they're not there and not them. It's just like a representation of them.
Yeah. But there are all sorts of. Yes, sir. Class. Hey, I participate. Oh, yes, you do, sir. I give you credit, much credit for that, sir. I enjoy having you here. So, these things have meaning. Certain things seem to have meaning more than others. Okay. They're set apart from the normal. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with relieving yourself in the bathroom. That's perfectly natural. Your body processes the food, it needs to expel it, okay, for your own health, right? I mean, you can't have feces and urine in your body indefinitely or you get sick. You'll die. He'll die. So it's perfectly natural. It's normal. But the sacred is not normal. That's the thing. The profane, whatever is not sacred, profane, like I said, profane language. All right, like the F word or the S word, if you let that drop in church or something, don't say that, that's profanity, Stuff like that. What they mean is it's not sacred speech. It's not the way you're supposed to talk in that area. And society used to be like society was sacred. That's why it's profanity. Profanity. You're profaning the situation. Societies only worked, especially ancient societies, because they believed the sacred. There was no division. I told you before, there was no division between religion and everything else. Everything was sacred. So the gods were involved and spirits were involved in everything. So you always had to respect that and how you treated each other. So let's say, for example, in the 1800s, I was reading this lady's article about, not recently, about what it was like in the 1800s to be a woman and how women were treated. And, there's good and bad in everything, but the impression you might have is like, women were put down. They were kept in limited situations. You couldn't approach women. You had to treat women a certain way, open the door for them, don't talk to them, keep them secluded. And that's true to a certain extent. But a lot of it was because of this, that women were part of the sacred as life givers. They were very important. So you had to keep the women safe. Because without the women, no children, right? And you see that in a lot of societies. Women, I'm not saying that the men thought they're equals or in any of these societies. No, I'm not saying that. But women were sacred. There was something sacred there that's so you don't touch the woman. You stay away from her. Because she's the bearer of life. You don't even talk to her. So, for example, in the 1800s, a man could not talk to a woman. He had to, and that's not because the woman was beneath him. The woman was less than him. Although I'm still not saying they thought women were their equals in the 1800s. Men thought that women were their equals. But you didn't talk to the woman directly because she was special. You had to be introduced to her by another man. He introduced you to her. You didn't just go up to her and say, "Hey, babe, come here often." No. You are introduced to her, and then you can ask her if she wants to dance. And she decides if she's going to dance with you or not. You don't decide. That still kind of occurs today, doesn't it? Go out to a club and stuff like that. You just don't grab some girl and pull her onto the disco floor, you know? Society was bound by a lot of this sacred. So you didn't speak to a woman or even other men in the same way, but especially women. Oh, a lady's present, guys. Gotta tone it down a bit. Guys, a bunch of men being around, profanity could fly all over the place. F this and GD that and S that. But once a woman came into the room, it's like, oh, no, we got to tone it down. Why? The sacred. Something special has entered the room. And now our language becomes profane. It's not just normal guy language. It's now profane language. So I'm saying, see, we don't because this is gone from our society. But if you look at other, society from 100 years ago, you see that's why shame. You do things privately. You can do things that you don't do in public. You'd be ashamed to do in public. Talk about things. So they're forbidden because even society was sacred. The profane things, you save that for home when you're talking to each other. Family issues, like family stuff. Save that profane stuff for that. But when you're out amongst society, you don't. And that's how you make society work. That's a lot of society. This is how they make them work. You avoid a lot of problems. You don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. They didn't have that sense of authenticity now. Their main thing was, you got to get with the program, because if you're a bomb thrower and you're constantly causing chaos in the society or getting people into arguments and angry or feeling uncomfortable, then society can start crumbling apart. It can start fraying. That was just the view. I'm not saying it's right or wrong or whatever, but it's changed. It's, now, since the 60s and stuff, it's authentic. You got to be authentic. You want to grow a beard and let your hair grow long? Great. Go for it, baby. You want to wear crazy stuff? Do it. Whereas before it was more like, no. You stick to what the society expects because it keeps the peace, Okay, anyways. So just to understand that, okay, the sacred is something that is not, or something that's not sacred is usually called profane. It's what's done outside of church. Profanum, profane. Pro in front of fanum, the temple, the sanctuary. Okay, so you dress differently in the fanum. You speak differently. You act differently. But outside, no. I mean, the Sunday clothes come off. Once you're outside the fanum, you're outside church, you let 1,000 F words bloom, baby. Once hey, I'm not in church anymore, Yeah, I mean, you see, it's profane now. You're in the profane world outside of the temple. You see that the sacred is dangerous. It's dangerous. That's why it's usually forbidden. Okay? So to recognize the otherness of the sacred, because it is, God bless you, it is representing transcendent ultimate reality. It is bigger than you and stronger than you, and also, knows more than you if it's a god or something like that, and more powerful than you. It's also dangerous and should be treated as such. We might say respect, or some of you Catholics who were confirmed, remember the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit confirmation? But I love asking trick questions. Confirmation. Remember when you were 14, you went to church and afterwards you had a party? Oh yeah, the party time. One of the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. Ms. Cook, fear of the Lord. Fear of the Lord. Doing my part to waste any. I'm an American. gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? Making the world a little bit worse. I see that advantage. Yes, sir. I should be an anchor? I should be an actor? I suck, sir. I've been in a couple plays. You can actually, I have some of my sizzle shots on YouTube. I realized that I can't act worth spit. It's terrible. But I do like it. Yeah, I've done it before. I might do it again. But learning all the lines, man, that's compulsive. That's not it. Excuse. Anyways, what was I saying? What was I talking about? Huh? Oh yeah, but before that was just stupid. That was don't waste it. It's what was I saying before that, Mr. Don't tell him. No, I got it. Henry. Amar. Oh, dangerous. Yeah, it's dangerous. It disrupts the order of reality in a way. Okay? Oh, fear of the Lord. That's right. Just to give you an example from Christianity, if you receive the sacrament of confirmation, one of the seven, what's called the seven gifts of the Holy Spirit, of God, the Holy Spirit, is fear of the Lord. Which, probably means, we translate it today as more like respect of the Lord or respect for God. But really, it probably does mean, it comes from, I think, the prophet Isaiah, the book of Isaiah. Probably did mean really fear. Be afraid of God. You should be afraid of God because he is and you ain't. Well, that's not appropriate to religion. We're religion and violence, right? Should religion be about fear, being afraid? Is Durant?
So should religion be about?
Yeah. Should you make people afraid? Is that important for religion to do?
I feel like it's common.
Common in religion to make people afraid?
Yeah. Like,
Ooh, okay. Scaring people. Yep. And what is hell? What is your conception of hell? What have you heard that hell is like?
like after, I don't know, you go to any God if you don't repent for your sins.
Repent. Like if you're a bad, good people go to hell. Does everyone go to hell? You don't know? So we all might possibly go to hell. Okay. Interesting. Is hell a good place or a bad place? Is it a place of Mr. Gaines? Did you have a comment? I mean, is this place we call hell? Is it a good place or a bad place? Is it a place that you think you might want to be or not be? Yes.
Well, it's perceived that way.
Perceived what way?
Perceived as a bad place.
Bad in what way?
Nobody wants to go there. I don't know why.
All right, but no one wants to go to Delaware, but they don't say it's hell.
I went to Delaware.
And all you got was this T-shirt.
I played baseball.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty state. It's a pretty little state. I'm just joking if you're from Delaware. I'm not down on Delaware. Okay, but why don't people want to go to hell? Why has it got a bad reputation?
What we're told.
Okay, but why? What do people tell you is bad about it? But you don't want to go there.
Satan?
Satan's there. All right. Okay. I mean, yeah. So?
You said what have you heard?
Huh?
You said what have you heard about
That this guy Satan is there. You've seen him?
Well, that's what I'm told.
Oh, that's what you're told. These people have seen Satan.
I don't know. Not from me. Didn't see him, but
All right. So really, you have nothing to be afraid of. You know?
maybe.
Yeah, no. Because they haven't seen Satan. They don't know what he looks like. Yes, Miss.
I was gonna say like it's really hot. It's scary. It smells.
All right. So it's like Eastern New Jersey in the summertime. Well, what happens to you in hell? Do people leave you alone? They show you a good time, Ms. Rogers?
You might unlock your most guiltiest moment.
Huh?
You might unlock your most guiltiest moment.
Okay.
Like, for me, my interpretation of hell is you're in this moment that you regret for the rest of your life, and you repeat it and repeat it and you repeat it, and you can't get out
Sure.
of it.
So you think that causes suffering?
Yes.
Ooh, suffering. Ooh, pain. Hmm. Violence? Is there violence in hell? Mr. Saunders, yeah. You think so? What kind of violence?
Okay.
There's a variety. Like what?
Well,
Assault? People are beating you up? People are not letting you go to the bathroom when you want to? Well, you said there's fire, so you're burning, right? Your skin, and I guess, is burning. Without, I guess you're never consumed. It's eternal. Although some people don't think hell is eternal. All right. Said there's maybe a Satan there, some person. But what is Satan doing? Do you think he's leaving you alone, or do you think he's coming after you? To play cards or to harm you? Oh, so okay, so you think the entities that might be in hell are going to harm you? Violence! I want you to be afraid. Is that a good thing, though? Is that all of those images, whether they're true or not, or you believe in them or not, you tell them to little kids and scare the heck out of them? No pun intended, right, Mr. Dobson? Is that a good thing? You're threatening them with violence, ultimately. That if you're a bad person or you do certain things that I don't want you to do or you're told not to do, you will burn in fire forever and feel pain. There might be a being there, Satan or a demon or something, that's going to hurt you, assault you, usually with pitchforks. I don't know why pitchforks, but whatever. Causing you further pain if the burning of your flesh isn't enough, Mr. Dobson. Good thing, bad thing? Why? Why? It doesn't sound fun. Okay. Yes.
Why do you have to be hot? Why can't it be cold?
Oh, that's interesting. Yes. Why is it it could be any kind of extreme, right? And if you read, for example, Dante's Inferno, this man Alighieri, Dante Alighieri, an Italian, wrote 3 books, 3 poems of his travels through heaven, hell, and purgatory. Heaven, hell, and purgatory. So you've got Paradiso, which is heaven, Purgatorio, which is purgatory, and then the bottom, which is hell, Inferno. I tried reading it once in English translation. Life is too short. But if you're in one of your literature classes and you ask, it's one of the classic pieces of human literature on the planet. First modern work or work in modern Italian. All right. But it's just, he has too many in references that you need to have footnotes upon footnotes to understand all the people he's referencing that lived around the time. And I'm not reading newspapers from 13th century Florence. I don't know who these people were. So I don't have time for it. But when he does describe, Dante describes his journey into hell, and he gets down to the very deepest part of hell where Satan is imprisoned. It is icy. It is not hot. Satan is encased in ice. Yeah. Good observation. Yes, Ms. Rogers.
You might refer to hell as like hot because underneath the earth's crust is like fire, lava, and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. We see lava and it hurts. It's destructive. Yeah. But my thing is, should religion use that imagery, that very violent imagery, Ms. Krauss, that threat of punishment, pain, violence? Should religion use that? Fear of the Lord. Fear the Lord. Be really afraid, Miss Krause, because if you're not afraid of him, he'll send you to burn and scream and wail. What do you think?
We shouldn't use that now.
I work too hard, Mr. Henry. You're right. You should try to be an actor. I'll make more money. Miss Krause. Okay, Miss Krause, he'll cut you a break. Does anyone get the question? Does anyone else get the question? Go ahead. Yeah.
I feel like to an extent, yes.
Ooh.
Because it can prevent violence that we have in real life, like killings and such.
Yeah.
But like, not to where we're like, every meal has to be this exact meal or else the Lord is going to send us to hell. But like, for stuff that is violent in our nature and in our world, yes, the Lord should be able to be fearful.
So there might be sometimes when religion uses violence, imagery, or ideas, and it's positive. You think?
Yes.
Like what? Give me an example. What do you think? What might be a good example? You'll go to hell, Mr. Melendez! No, you won't. I'm just, for the sake of argument, Mr. Melendez. Well, might be a good example. What do you think? Where religion and violence can come together positively. I don't have any. I can think of something, but I don't want to give it to you. I want you to earn your Easter egg. Go ahead.
I guess, like teaching people that, you hurt other people, or if you're like with other people, you're gonna go to hell, and that is the whole pain and more that you put on them is gonna motivate someone who believes in them to not be bad by anybody else, so they don't feel that same wrath.
Bingo! Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because if you don't, you'll go to hell. You'll suffer the ultimate violence. So wouldn't that motivate me? Because I'm scared. I want to go to hell. I'm scared. So, yeah, someone did me wrong, so I could get revenge on them. But if I get revenge, I might go to hell. Yeah, but you don't want people to live in fear, right? But if it keeps them from doing really bad things, buying a gun, going to local schools. Bob, if you do that, you'll go to hell. There's no hope. You shoot up that school, you will burn in hell. All right. It scares the person. All right, I won't do it. Yeah, I won't do it. That seems like a positive nexus of religious faith and the exercise of violence. But why do we accept that? But when religion said, well, if you're not married, you really shouldn't be having sex. That's not what it's for. And if you do it consciously and intentionally, you might go to hell. That change the equation? I'm going to get you to talk, sir. Are you this quiet when you're playing baseball? You don't even communicate with? Really? You don't communicate? Now what? Which position do you play? Pitcher. You're a pitcher? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you're up there alone, basically. So, all right. So, I guess you have a spot. All right. Touche. All right. Yes, I got you, Mr. Rand.
Wait, what I do?
You're telling me to end it for today. See, I could, I'm in. I'll see you on Thursday. Think about more violent things religion can do. That's a pot. Miss Colonna. No, Miss Colonna, she's off on. Sorry, Miss Colonna. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Miss. Have a good day. Have a good day, Miss. Have a good day. Good day, sir.
Dad just texted me saying, Mom is demanding to know your schedule. I told you.
It's your mother.
Yeah.
Don't worry, sir. It never ends. It will never end, sir.
I have to listen to my mother.
Huh.
That's rule number one. Listen to mom. Listen to birth giver.
What about dad? Was he kind of shunted off to the side?
Well, no, dad got the message from mom to tell me.
So,
It didn't come from my mom. It came from my.
so your dad's doing his job. Your mother wants this.
They have-
Yeah. See you, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Have a good-